Good afternoon. It is September the 29th, 2016. Time to recap our trading today. We had a very quiet market in the E-mini until the news hit, and the banking sector took a big hit off the Deutsche Bank news. And again, banks fail overnight, so when there's ever a hint of anything going wrong in a bank, people move, and they move quickly. But prior to that, we had like a six-handle range. We came in this morning wanting to sell 65s, 67s. That's where your sell is up here. We wanted to buy 55s, 57s. Didn't quite, we just touched that. And prior to that, there was nothing going on. So this little buy right here was good for some. Plus, this retest failure, any of those three S's would have made you some money. This monkey trade right here would have made you some money. Retest failure up here. There is no S. The market just spilled off the news with unanswered selling. This S is a scratch. If you move your stop to break even on the third bar, this S, this sell against the moving average, this sell against the value area low was positive. And either of these two trades would have been positive. And you can see right here that we've got unanswered buying or short covering. And so the original idea before anything started out, sell 65, 67s, buy 55, 57, worked out pretty well. Then you never can really account for news, and the market breaks big time, and here we find ourselves at the end of the day trading below 2150. Looking at the F1 screen, some damage was done today, but if the Bundesbank or European Central Bank come back in, and there's already a contingency plan for Deutsche Bank, and say we will not let this bank fail under any circumstances, then that piece of news is going to be erased. And believe you me, the European Central Bank and the Bundesbank in Germany all got the message today. Commerzbank in Germany is firing 20% of their workforce. So these problems are run pretty deep, and it's all goes back to the pigs problems. There was $1.2 trillion worth of sovereign debt that was basically worthless. And until the European Union absorbs that debt or creates a growth vehicle via their economies to work their way out of it, it hangs over the market. Have an outside day in the E-mini right now. That usually means trading range. We don't have a lot of news tomorrow. We have personal income and spending, Chicago PMI, and Baker Hughes rig count. Not major news, but I think the focus will be on what's going to happen out of Europe. You can just kind of see right here that we've got a saddle. Now, I want to point this out. The market usually takes out, and I'll print this, the first volume level, and the second volume level is the one that holds. So when the market really starts to move quickly, Charlie said high volume numbers are great places for resting limit orders on the buyer sell side. Can't take them out without news. Well, obviously we have news right here. So here's the first. Go through it pretty handily, and here's the second. Most recent in the market's memory, and that's where we found support. So knowing this price point here below 2140, and we had 35, 37. We said if we broke 55, 50 this morning, the next stop structurally was 35, 37. You had that in your hands real early this morning, and it held up pretty well. So the news that we have tomorrow: personal income, personal spending, both up 0.2. Chicago PMI 52 even. That could come in lower than forecast. It's hard to say on the numbers now. I mean, everything's cooked. Baker Hughes rig count was 649. That could come in higher. The focus will be personal spending, then Chicago PMI. Okay, assuming a close right here at 47. Last rotate up stopped at 53, so 49, 53, sell 1. The spill came from 57, 55, 57, sell 2. Basically trying to sell 2150s, 2155s. On the buy side, 40, 42. And 35, 37. Now, The EU and the Bundesbank, Germany, really can't let this go because we got Deutsche Bank, you got Commerzbank. The head of the Swiss National Bank came out the other day and said that no major European banks were investable because of the structural problems they all face. And the taxpayer, as always, will pick up the tab and the bill for that. And as we will in the United States, the big guys don't. They morph, they get fired from one job, and they pick up the same amount of income in another company that's still part of the network. Rent-seeking is a nice way to put it, but basically it's crony capitalists where the government, through rules, regulations, direct interference, indirect interference, keeps your competitors at bay. And even during the Depression, the great big companies found a way to keep their doors open. They certainly had better times, but they get there. And of course, anybody employed by the government lived pretty well during those times. Outside day on F1 for the 10-year note trading range. This was the news that took us higher. If they don't come out and say and do anything about Deutsche Bank, this market can trade higher tomorrow. So the first sell zone would be 19 to 23, 27 to 31. On the buy side, 9 to 13, 1 to 5 for buy 2. Put an article up by Ray Dalio's group talking about how much longer could the European Central Bank and the Bank of Japan carry on. And it was 5 years. The Bank of Japan's been doing this since 1992. Their debt to GDP is 4 to 1 right now. The European Central Bank hasn't been doing it since 1992, but certainly since 2008. So this can go on a very, very long time, and before the devil gets his pay. And we as traders, we all sit back and we watch this, and we know that bad things are coming. We just don't know when, and it makes it pretty difficult. Timing is everything. So we're cognizant of that. We're paying attention, but we're taking the trades as they come up. Just like on that crude trade today, there was a lot of reasons not to take that trade today, but that particular trade said that the market had sold. It was a reasonable trade, and you just made a dime on it. But a dime you did make. So 8 to 12 is going to be number 1. 1 to 5 will be buy 1. 21.25 will be buy 2 on the 30-year. And I'm giving a little bit of room to the upside because, again, I think if there isn't a fairly strong statement out of Germany overnight that the pressure will be back on the banks, and they really don't need this to spread any farther than Deutsche Bank. But Commerce, like I said, Bank today, firing 20% of their staff and cutting back. Everything the government gets involved when they lengthen the pain. Their hearts may be in the right spot, but back before, we used to have devastating recessions back in the 1800s. but they were over quickly, and the slate was wiped clean and everybody started out. Since 1987, our Fed has been screwing with the market. The real estate collapse in 1986, and if and when this breaks, it's going to take longer than 15, 18 months to clean things out. There's probably, if this whole thing breaks down, there's probably a war coming that we just haven't seen yet. That's another way that governments manage to wipe the slate clean. Okay, lower high, lower low for gold. Market is pointed lower. A lot of people are drawing parallels between Syria and Spain and World War II. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that if you follow and read history, while the names change, human nature doesn't. 28 to 30, sell 1. 34, 36, sell 2. We're back to our 19s to 21s. Buy 1. 15 to 17, buy 2. Okay, crude oil right now up outside 53. That's where you'd look for it to go. 50 to 53 would be the trading target. And we've got that high right there at 51.60. If OPEC does manage to cut back on production like they say they're going to, then prices can trade higher. My guess is it's worst case $50 plus, $40 minus. The cost of production from more and more places starts to kick in at 40, and what you do is you take that hedging element out of the market. People just don't sell it. F1, looking for a place to buy it. F2 will confirm that. So we're back where we were, 48 and a quarter, sell 1. That low volume number at 48.50, 48.50, 75, sell 2. Probably headed to $50 with more supportive news out of OPEC. On the buy side, 47.50, 47 and a quarter, buy 1. 46.75, 47, buy 2. And the euro. Euro got hit pretty hard off of the news. The came back, and my guess is they're anticipating that somebody will say something tonight. It's kind of right in the middle of a trading range right now. We got a seller 13.25 plus. We've got a buyer 11.50 minus, and here we sit at 12.50. So. Maybe a little bit over the middle. So higher low, higher high. I guess we could look for a place to buy it. A lot of it's going to be dependent on what comes on. Comes out of the European Central Bank. Definitely have a B here, so this favors the sell side. So 12.75, sell 1. 1300, sell 2. On the buy side, we got a B shape, so maybe a little bit lower. 12.25, buy 1. 112 even, buy 2. And that does it. That for the September the 29th. I will see you all bright and early in the morning. You all have a great evening. Supposed to stay just right around 70 today with a warm-up, a little bit of a warm-up over the weekend, but certainly it wasn't a week ago that we were looking at 90 to 95, so I'm enjoying this and hope you all are enjoying your weather too. See you bright and early in the morning.